All right, let me ask you something. What if your dream move to West Denver, foothill views, craft beer on patios, trailhead access was just minutes away? What if that turns into a logistical headache, a lifestyle mismatch, or even worse, an expensive do-over? If you're the kind of person who researches everything before you make a big decision, and I know you are, then don't move to West Denver without hearing these 7 things. Seriously, they might change where you look, how you search, or even what you want. I'm going to tell you a story about a client that I worked with recently. She was relocating from DC. She was sharp, she was organized, she had tons of spreadsheets, and she thought she knew exactly what she wanted. Mountain views, close to Denver, and even that room for a yoga nook. Well, we found her a home in Golden, and it pretty much checked all the boxes, or so we thought. And then 3 weeks after she moved in, well, reality hit. The views were absolutely stunning, but the traffic on I-70 was absolutely brutal. And her walkable neighborhood, well, not so walkable, she found out when the snow hits. And the peaceful wildlife, well, that included a fox who stole her Amazon package actually twice. Now, Amy still loves her home, but she told me, I wish I knew what questions to ask before I move. So let's make sure you don't say the same thing. All right, thing number 1, West Denver isn't one place. It's 4 cities actually in disguise. So people say West Denver, but what they really mean is Lakewood, Golden, Arvada, or Littleton. Now, each has its own city government, school district, property tax rate, and even their own trash pickup rules. Now, you could buy a house thinking it's in Denver and find out you're technically in Wheat Ridge. I did have a buyer who fell in love with a home because of the Denver price and proximity, and then a week after closing, he called me asking why their internet provider didn't offer service there. Well, that's because they weren't actually in Denver at all. They were in unincorporated Jefferson County. So, quick tip, before you commit, just zoom out, look at the city name, the county, and verify the services that are offered in that city, because this can actually impact your lifestyle way more than you might think. All right, thing number 2, the commute is gorgeous and sneakily grueling. So let's say you're working remotely most days, but you do need to go downtown maybe once or twice a week. That sounds pretty reasonable, right? But have you accounted for maybe that trailhead traffic or ski season gridlock or that sun glare delays that you see on I-70? Now, living near the mountains is amazing, but you're sharing those roads with everyone else who wants to be there too. I once had a client who left her house in Arvada at 7:30 a.m. She's trying to make a 9 a.m. meeting downtown. She got there at 9:10. She was flustered. She was frustrated. So the next time she left at 6:30, she parked early, grabbed a cup of coffee, and had actually 40 minutes to chill. So a helpful tip is to test drive your commute at the exact time that you're going to be doing it, and don't trust Google Maps at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. And if outdoor access is non-negotiable, well, weigh that against travel time during those peak seasons. All right, thing number 3, mountain views. Might be creative in the listing write-up where it says it's got mountain views, but from what angle? Is it from the kitchen? Is it from the upstairs bathroom? Is it reflected in the microwave? Can you tell the difference also between full-on views and maybe a cleverly angled photo? I did have a client where we toured a home and the mountain view was visible from the basement window if you crouch down a little bit. So if it's not in the listing information, be sure to ask the exact direction that the house faces. West facing, patios or decks, game changer at sunset. And if you're touring virtually, don't be afraid to ask your agent to FaceTime you during that golden hour so you can see what it looks like. Okay, thing number 4, you may be the HOA and maybe even the wildlife control. Many West Denver neighborhoods, they don't have HOAs. That can be a blessing or maybe even a surprise. Are you ready to shovel your own sidewalks? Are you ready to chase off that deer that could be nibbling on your flowers? I did have a couple moving from Texas. They bought a home in Littleton, no HOA, and by spring, their yard looked like a nature preserve. I think they had 3 raccoons, 1 possum, and an elk that literally licked their grill. No HOA certainly means more freedom, but it could also mean more responsibility. So you want to budget for snow removal, landscaping, and maybe critter proofing. Okay, thing number 5, new construction is rare. Character, however, is not. So if you want something shiny and new, West Denver might not be your best bet. But if you love character, well, then you're in luck. Are you open to updating a 1970s ranch with incredible bones and maybe questionable tile or maybe carpet in the bathroom? I did have a past client who actually walked into a Lakewood tri-level, saw that avocado green kitchen and said, "Wow, this is hideous, but I love it." Now, most of the homes here were built between the 1950s and 1980s, and some are updated and some are not. But you get bigger lots, you get more mature trees and layouts that you can actually make your own. Okay, thing number 6, not every neighborhood has trail access. Now, everyone wants that outdoor lifestyle, right? But here's the thing. Close to trails, well, that can mean 2 minutes or maybe even 20 minutes. You have to ask, can you walk to a trailhead, or are you actually battling for parking every weekend? I did have a client who bought a home in Golden thinking that she could hike every morning. Well, it turned out the neighborhood actually backed to open space, but there was no access to the trails. So her daily hikes, they actually became weekend drives. So just use apps like All Trails. This way you can check the proximity, look for neighborhoods that have pedestrian access, not just streets near hills. Okay, thing number 7, the culture is a beautiful mix. You want to find your fit. Denver draws federal employees, entrepreneurs, you've got artists, outdoor lovers, retirees. So how do you know if a neighborhood actually matches your lifestyle? I had a couple who thought that Arvada might be maybe too suburban for them, but after one Saturday, heading to the farmer's market, the street musicians, the rooftop patio drinks, they said, "Oh my gosh, this is it. We are home." So take time to explore. Stroll the town center, check out coffee shops, and just listen to the conversations. You'll feel it when it's right. All right, let's recap. You now know the 7 things that can make or break your West Denver move. This isn't just about buying a home, it's about choosing a lifestyle. If you're like my client, you're not just changing your address, you're actually setting the stage for the next chapter. And now you're making that decision with your eyes wide open. And if you're still wondering where to begin, then don't miss my next video, Best Places to Live Near Denver for Mid-Career Professionals. Until then, remember, life is short, live somewhere awesome, and be well. We'll see you next week.